Continuing our coverage of the aftermath of Helene. Let's take a look at some drone video. This is showing the devastation in the Asheville area. Right now at 5, a devastating update on the death toll in western North Carolina. Right now, we know 40 people have died in Buncombe County, 5 in Henderson County, and 4 in Haywood County. Crews are continuing recovery efforts as water continues to recede and downed trees are removed from roads. Many across the mountains are in need of food, power, water, and cell service. Buncombe County started food and water distribution this afternoon. Now, it set up locations at 4 county schools, one at Sandhill Elementary School, one at Fairview Elementary, one at North Windy Ridge Intermediate, and one at Estes Elementary. News 13's Kimberly King shows us the distribution effort at Estes.
Here in South Asheville, people have been waiting for more than an hour, getting in line at Estes Elementary. You can see the entrance of the school parking lot with this line going all the way around this whole area in the front of the elementary school. And people have really been patient. And I talked to a sergeant here and he said that really is the key at this point, is to be patient. They just started distributing the water. People with their windows down waiting. Basically, the folks up here will ask people in the car how much supply they need, and they'll give them enough water for a full day and also meals as well. Now, I do want to just show you the list of locations where you can pick up water. Today, 1 day supply: William Estes Elementary, Sandhill Elementary School, North Windy Ridge Intermediate School, and Fairview Elementary School. The city of Asheville has also set up at Pack Square water distribution, where people will be able to get a gallon of water there. This, of course, will be a rollout continuing in the days to come. And what I can tell you is I'm seeing a lot of reinforcements coming into Asheville. As I drove into work today on I-26, saw a lot of emergency vehicles, and obviously along with that are a lot of supplies. There are many nonprofits descending into this community to distribute food and water. So patience, as the Sergeant Fish here told me just a moment ago, said that's the key. Reporting from South Asheville, Kimberly King, News 13.
Governor Roy Cooper came to the mountains today to review the storm damage and relief efforts. News 13's Ed Dioria was at the governor's briefing earlier this afternoon. He joins us live from Asheville Regional Airport. Ed, what can you tell us? There was a lot of information.
That there was, Holly, but the information that was given right from the beginning of the press conference given by Governor Roy Cooper in his first day in the area since Helene hit, the biggest emphasis point was about the rescue teams. That was the first statistic and note that was given. 92 rescue teams are currently on the ground here in western North Carolina throughout the 25 counties under the state of emergency. 3 of them coming from the federal level, 22 coming from the outside, the rest here in North Carolina. Also, it is noted that though the state officials and federal officials, from their collection, they have counted 33 fatalities of North Carolinians at this point. There is still not much clarification as to how that overlaps with the 40 we've seen in Buncombe County and the ones you mentioned off the top, Holly, but also noted that power outages have been reduced to 415,000 in western North Carolina, as well as progress being made and on cell service being provided to multiple parts of the area. How they're doing that is through temporary satellite trucks, through different providers making their way in here, and more is expected to come on the way as well. It was also noted that a big focus of resources being brought in, a lot of them here at Asheville Regional Airport from what you can see behind me, the ones that are being prioritized right now: water and fuel distribution. Gas obviously being a very scarce thing to come by right now. So there is more fuel distribution on the way, as well as water for those in Buncombe County and others that need it in parts of the area. But like you mentioned, Holly, there's a lot of information to come out of what we heard this afternoon.
The devastation was beyond belief. And even when you prepare for something like this is something that's never happened before in western North Carolina. Search and rescue teams are continuing to work. We even talked with some people who are still hoping to get and talk with their people, and as phone service comes back up, we'll know a little more.
And we will hear more from Governor Roy Cooper and what he had to say about what he saw today in different parts of Buncombe County. We'll highlight where he was and where he'll continue to be as the relief efforts continue in the aftermath of Helene. Holly, let's go back to you.
All right, thanks so much. News 13's Taylor Thompson spent the day in Black Mountain surveying the damage done and getting a first-hand look at how residents are helping each other.
You guys, if there's anything that could be said about a community coming together during a time of tragedy, an example of that is right here in Black Mountain. While there's still no power or internet, volunteers have been gathering to come together and provide water and hot meals to those in need. One of those residents in need includes Elena Delatorre, who owns Ole Guacamoles and just saw on Monday what was left of her restaurant.
This is the first time coming to look at all this mess and start cleaning up and making plans for a better future.
You can see what's left of the inside of their restaurant, with mud covering the floor and many people working to get all of their tables and chairs out and save what they can.
It's arrived. I've had it for 18 years.
As a family-run business, she's counting her blessings.
It's all material stuff that we can rebuild.
Delatorre says the water ran higher than they ever thought it would.
But you could see the line of the water going through the kitchen door. It's pretty high, and it pushed the door down, and everything is a mess in there. But that's okay. We'll keep going.
And for residents in the same boat, food and water distribution points will be ongoing to help those dealing with the impacts left behind.
Bottled water, hot meal, park down there.
Mary Catherine Robinson is the pastor at Black Mountain Presbyterian Church and says their number one goal is taking care of their community as they remain without any power or internet.
One person's focusing on distribution, one is focusing on food. I think, our church is really focused on feeding people.
On Sunday, they were able to feed over 1,000 people and anticipate that number only rising as the week goes on.
We just had a former church member come in from Williamsburg, Virginia, that just brought in a whole U-Haul of food and supplies, a generator, gasoline.
And so many volunteers coming to help, one being Kent Patton.
I've lived here my whole life.
Your whole life?
Yeah.
You ever seen anything like this?
No.
Who came to check in on the church after the storm and immediately got to work.
It's amazing though how the community's coming together and feeding and none of it's been planned or anything.
And there are two food and water distribution sites here in the town. One is located right here at Black Mountain Presbyterian Church, and the other is over at the Monte Vista Hotel. If you're in need of food or water, please do not hesitate to come to one of these sites. In Black Mountain, I'm Taylor Thompson, News 13.
We did see some showers across the mountains. Let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Jason Boyer. Jason, should we be concerned at all with today's rain?
Yeah, overall, not a huge concern because this is not going to lead to any flash flooding or additional river flooding. This rain is not enough to do that. It is moving through. It's pretty sparse in coverage. And yes, there are some pockets of moderate shower activity to the south and west of Asheville and down into the upstate. I'll even zoom in a little more on some of these locations over Buncombe County. You can see as the radar pops back on that we have some showers falling, but it's nothing that's widespread, thankfully, at this hour. The unfortunate thing is additional rain could increase the landslide risk. It does not mean we're going to see widespread landslides like we had with Helene, obviously, but recent rain could loosen some soil. Be aware if you live on steep terrain or in a cove or valley, just because the possibility is there that additional landslides do occur. That's courtesy of the National Weather Service and also the USGS, the Geological Survey. They are certainly looking into that for us. All right, Futurecast, a little bit of shower activity early on, and then everything kind of fades out. We will be drier tonight, and I have some great news. Drier days ahead. I'll show you how the temperature trend goes.
If you are in Rutherford County and need supplies, the distribution center at Green Hill Baptist Church has been moved to Florence Baptist Church in Forest City. Now, that's due to the closure of Highway 6474. This location will be open from 9 to 6 daily. Officials say additional distribution centers will be opened on the west side of the county once roads are accessible. I want to give you an update on power restoration efforts in Rutherford County. If you have service through Rutherford Electric Membership Corporation, officials say full restoration is expected to take a week or more. Officials say Rutherford EMC has restored power to more than 20,000 members, and crews will continue efforts until power is restored to all homes. And Jason, out there today, we had a couple showers, but overall, at least it's cool.
Yeah, it is. It is relatively cool. That's been great, and that's helping with those without power, but we are trending warmer in the coming days. That's the unfortunate thing. I'll show you how warm we will likely start October off. I know many of you haven't been paying attention to what day it is. I get it, but we're almost to October, and so a new calendar will be coming out with new weather data. We'll be talking more about our chances of additional rain, and I'll be telling you more about, unfortunately, the potential for something in the tropics developing. I will reassure you, though, this has no implications on our weather at this point.
And now, your News 13 Skywatch weather.
All right, so some showers have been falling today. Again, not a huge concern because this is not going to be enough to cause any flash flooding or additional river flooding, but it is certainly raising the anxiety level. I understand any additional rain that's falling, many might be concerned. There is a heavier pocket of rain approaching Asheville at this hour, right over I-40 between Inca, Candler, and Hominy. This is moving right into the city here. In about, say, 10 or 15 minutes, it's going to be raining steadily and rather heavily over Asheville and areas just to the north, like into Woodfin. That should head east as well. We're not anticipating any issues overall. That is good news. But an increased landslide risk is there for some areas. Again, we want you to be aware that if you live in a steep terrain or some slope that is very steep, of course, into the coves or valleys, there's the potential. It's not a high risk, but it's there that there could be some additional landslides with the rainfall that is falling now and could fall into the early evening. Here's something of good to tell you as well. There's been a lot of misinformation on the web, but a tropical update for you. No tropical storms or hurricanes are coming to western North Carolina in the next 7 days. That is not going to happen. If you've seen posts like that, disregard them. That is not happening. But what we do have happening is an area of low pressure that's expected to develop somewhere off the coast of the Yucatan of Mexico or Central America, move into the Gulf of Mexico. But after that, there is a lot of evidence that shows this will get pulled farther east rather than north like Helene did. But there are divergent solutions here. I'm showing you the GFS model in yellow and the European model, the white lines. Essentially, this is surface pressure, showing us that the American model wants to bring the system more to Texas. The European is pulling it across Florida and away, eventually out to sea. That does not involve us in the Western Carolinas, either solution, and thus the confidence is that we are looking at a Gulf system or somewhere into Florida. All right, weather planner, we are going to be watching the temperatures cool off a little more tonight. Of course, temperatures low 60s in the morning. We go for the mid 70s in the afternoon. Very slim chance of any rain tomorrow. You'll see that reflected here on the Futurecast. Those showers that are out there now will fade, and then we'll be in and out of clouds through the day tomorrow. Some sunshine popping through at times, but a few showers cannot be ruled out, especially in the high elevations in the afternoon. Additional rainfall the next 24 hours, probably less than 1/10 of an inch for most, but there could be those pockets that I showed you on radar that come down as a quarter, maybe high end 1/2 inch of rain. Above average temperatures expected as we get into the latter part of the week, and that's unfortunate for those without power. No way to cool off other than opening the windows. Thus, we might have to deal with a little more uncomfortable feeling in the next few days. 50s and 60s tonight. That's the refreshing numbers for the nighttime lows. We're back into the 70s and 80s tomorrow, getting warmer for you in the foothills. I know you're without power in a lot of places there, and also warmer west. We'll see 80s return into the upstate. Temperatures trend closer to 80 degrees in Asheville Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Still pretty warm Saturday, and most days are sunny to partly cloudy with no real chance of rain in the city or many areas until we get into next week. We might see another front move through.
The National Guard and more than 40 agencies are assisting in hard-hit Lake Lure. Clearing roads is a major priority, along with missing persons reports. More than 100 have evacuated, and traffic is limited. News 13's Jennifer Emmert has a look at some of the devastation there.
This is as far as we can go into the Lake Lure area along 6474 near the Pool Creek Picnic Park on Lake Lure. If you take a look behind me, the Lakeside Chapel on Saturday, it was underwater all the way up to the cross.
When you get there, you're just like, you want to cry. It's like, what do you do? You know, where do you go? You just stand and look around. There's just stuff laying everywhere.
Dale Shields has hauled truckload after truckload of debris from Lake Lure. A bird's eye view reveals the devastation.
When you get to right above the Chimney Rock Park entrance, the river's about 300 foot wide. There's no road. It's gone. All the houses from there up is gone. The bridge, the Flowering Bridge, gone.
Government agencies, with the help of Shields, other contractors, and community volunteers like William Smith, are slowly clearing Rutherford and Polk County roads.
You might go 10 feet and cut 3 trees. You might go a mile and cut 10, but everybody just pulled together and tried to get out.
Smith shared some of the damage he'd seen on Cedar Creek Road and to Highway 64 at Rock Springs.
We can check.
TJ Brady is on leave from the South Carolina Helicopter Aquatic Rescue Team.
I've been deployed to Hurricane Harvey, all the things at the coast, and I think the devastation here outweighs anything that I've ever been to in my life.
That didn't stop him from helping in other ways.
I climbed on my roof, grabbed my Wi-Fi off the roof, and came here and brought a coffee maker, a generator, and gave people Wi-Fi so they can at least contact their family members.
The sheer volume of water threatened Lake Lure Dam and tossed boats onto sidewalks and docks. It also damaged boathouses and required heavy machinery to untangle the mess when docks broke free. In the midst of the damage, a wedding at Lake Lure Inn.
During this time, we were able to pull off a wedding, so very happy that the bride and groom were able to enjoy their day at our hotel.
Lake Lure residents still in shock by the power of Helene.
It hit. It was nothing, and all of a sudden, boom. And whatever it was just sounded like it exploded. We had 2 trees fall on the house.
Pulling together and bracing for the cleanup that remains.
The silt down in the lake is horrible. It looks like a big island out on the lake. And a marina, if you've ever been to Lake Lure and seen the marina, it's gone. There's no marina. It's history, everything.
The cleanup here in Lake Lure will take quite some time. Community crews tell me they'll keep working as long and as hard as they can. In Lake Lure, Jennifer Emmert, News 13.
A global food nonprofit touches down in the mountains. Up next. A global humanitarian food nonprofit is in Asheville distributing thousands of meals right now to families. News 13's Kimberly King found the group World Central Kitchen and its founder. She shows us how they're gearing up to feed families until this crisis is over.
At 9 a.m., World Central Kitchen staged one of its helicopters in downtown Asheville in an empty parking lot as it prepares to fly into otherwise unreachable communities to feed people across the mountains in need. Crews we found loading sandwiches and water. But this is just the start of World Central Kitchen's major mobilization to feed and distribute water.
We've scouted out a bunch of areas, and now we're taking food to those areas, and we have an army of trucks that are going out to people.
SUVs, Charlie says, will take food to people.
The Cheney Brothers is here that's our supplies. So we're going to Black Mountain today.
Yes.
And that whole area.
Plus, remote areas in Swannanoa, feet away from the launch site. Inside Bear's Barbecue in Asheville's South Slope, with the owner helping create this central food prep spot. Local Asheville chefs and many in Asheville's restaurant industry, along with volunteers, are working as a team, making sandwiches and packing up meals to distribute to anyone who's hungry. This is Drea Jackson.
So you're volunteering?
Yes. We were taking the dogs for a walk this morning and saw the helicopter land, and so just decided to help.
Everyone of all ages is helping to make this happen with WCK. But the man who founded this global humanitarian nonprofit that created this program that helps feed people on the front lines all over the world is renowned for his work throughout the country. His name is Jose Andres, and he is now in Asheville. And we saw him come out from Bear's Barbecue and get ready to board the copter to head to Swannanoa and Black Mountain.
This community.
To see Andres in our community shows the nonprofit's serious commitment to Asheville. He knows the aftermath of a hurricane.
What is worse is what happens after. The teams always follow, and unfortunately, this time it's been Asheville.
Andres is aware of devastation in many communities, including Swannanoa.
If they need our help, food and water we can bring. I have solar lamps here, I have, the things that sometimes people need in these early days. It's hard to see people suffering, and it takes so little to give comfort. We leave the helicopter in the early days, but this way we can start marking the people going every day with the cars.
Andres and his staff know how to mobilize food efforts in disaster zones. Moments later, he got into the helicopter and the pilot lifted this first team off the ground, heading for the first of many trips to help people who need their care and food so much. In Asheville, Kimberly King, News 13.